Hey friends, welcome back to Disney Dose. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Ashley May. And today we are going to go over all of our predictions for the D23 film slate. So we're going to go through each announcement that we are pretty sure is going to happen, some announcements that are very likely, some announcements that are not so likely, and we've made a few educated wishes along the way. You'll know that term if you saw the new Deadpool Wolverine. Deadpool coins the term educated wish. And so we made a few educated wishes about film announcements from Walt Disney Studios to Pixar to Star Wars, everything in between. So we're so glad you're with us today, and let's dive in.
D23, if you do not know, D23 is a huge convention held in Anaheim, California, thrown on by Disney. And if you've ever been to Comic-Con or maybe know about Comic-Con, it's this huge fan convention, and this is just the Disney equivalent of it. So Disney owns so many things now. It's become this huge conglomerate of media, from 20th Century Fox being the most recent purchase. You have Marvel, you have Star Wars, you have Pixar, you have the theme parks, you have television, you have Hulu, you have the Bear. You have so many things at D23 to explore. So if you're thinking like, oh, Disney, what is it going to hold for 3 days? There's so much to see. So we've actually been to D23 before.
We have.
It was actually D23 Expo at the time.
That's right. They dropped the Expo.
They dropped the Expo. Maybe it's just
it's
not a relative term. I don't think we go to expos. I don't know. It's like a World's Fair type of thing. Anyways,
I know. Expo makes me think of marker, not a.
Oh, the dry erase mark.
The
dry
erase.
So D23, we've been, and we had a ball.
We did.
Gone.
You guys, we literally went to Walmart before and bought the cheapest like pillows and sleeping bags, and we camped out on this concrete floor with hundreds, probably thousands of other people to get into their equivalent of Hall H
Which was,
at the time.
Yeah.
Like their Comic-Con equivalent of Hall H, because it was right before the big Marvel panel. Or was it just their whole movie slate?
Disney film showcase, but it was the year that Infinity War came out. So the whole Marvel cast, Avengers,
everyone, we saw everyone live.
It was really
so cool. Just they kept coming out. Yeah. But honestly, I mean, that was so cool. But honestly, genuinely, my favorite part of that year was seeing Alan Menken play live.
Yeah.
That was in a smaller venue, and it wasn't even full, which blows my mind, because to me, as a millennial Disney fan growing up with Alan Menken, I could not believe I was watching him play live, just hit after hit of my childhood. Like the soundtrack of my childhood was being played live before me. So cool.
And I've been before. I mean, like every single time they've had moments like that, from the Disney Legends ceremony. But I took my parents. I've gone so many. I took my parents one year. It just
How
showed
did
me
I not know this? Your
I didn't have a date.
Went?
It just showed me I didn't have a date. I didn't want to go solo, which I have done as well. I've been by myself at D23. 4, 5.
And oh my gosh,
4?
I am bummed that of all years, the year we're not going is the year we decide to become Disney content creators.
But you know what?
But you know what? We have some boots on the ground. We have a friend. We have a hookup.
We do. We have some boots on the ground. They can send us their intelligence, although Twitter may be a little bit faster.
Quicker, yeah.
All of that to say, we want to dive into what we predict are the announcements for the Disney film slate, the theme park announcements. There is so much that could be announced. And so we want to dive in. And as Ashley said earlier, we're going to rate each of these announcements in 3 ways. It can either be most likely to happen. We envision it. We see them already do it. It's just right there for them to do it. And we think they're going to do it.
And if they don't do it, like what?
Come on, what are you doing? So most likely to happen, could happen. Maybe I want it to happen. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Okay? So 3 categories.
Like wishful
most
thinking.
Could, not going to happen.
For those of you who just saw Deadpool and Wolverine, not just wishful thinking, but an educated wish.
We're going to make educated wishes. Most likely to happen, an educated wish, not going to happen. So I want to dive into this list. And as we know, Friday, the first day of D23 this year, will be the movies panel. It'll be at the Honda Center, their biggest venue this year at D23. So they're going to be going through
shuttling people over to the Honda
yes,
Center.
and
I
who
love
knows
it.
how that's going to happen. We're going to be sitting right here as they're all waiting in the heat to go back and forth. I feel so bad, but that's incredible. So they're going to do animated movies and live action. I'm just going to kind of go through my own list.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm excited.
So let's dive in November. Moana 2 is coming out. So the animated sequel to Moana, which we know is the actually the highest viewed Disney program on Disney Plus.
Oh,
It like
yeah.
outranked all
Is
the
it- Am I wrong in saying that Moana is the most viewed movie on streaming, period?
I need to look that up. I know for Disney it is. And so
Okay.
for them, that's just high value. They can obviously
Oh, yeah.
see the data on Disney Plus. They say people are watching Moana. Let's make a sequel. So Moana 2 is happening. We've already gotten a teaser trailer. I think they have to give us a full trailer.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
If it's coming out so soon, I absolutely think we'll get a trailer. I think, okay, now some of you out there may be fans like myself of the unofficial Bridgerton musical, which was written by Abigail Barlow and Emily Barlow and Bear, who have been brought on Moana 2's project to do the music for it. I'm stoked. I am truly beyond stoked because literally every year for the past 2 years, the unofficial Bridgerton musical has been in my top 5 songs played on Spotify that year, on my Spotify Wrapped. I'm stoked to see these girls like put on display in such a huge way and to see what they can do. I totally think it's feasible that they could be there to perform one song,
A
if
song
not
from the
two.
movie.
Probably like the single,
Uh-huh.
I guess you could say, from the film. I don't know what that would be. Because the teaser did not give much away in terms
No.
of music at all, like the vibe.
Yeah. Because you had in the first one, you have what's her song? Who knows how far it goes?
How far I'll go. Sorry, Bubba.
How Far I'll Go is the title of the song. So the first one had that big number, and this one, we don't know the songs yet. It's going to be a musical.
Oh, it's going to have a big I Want song.
So in this panel, you think, if we're going to go in our rating category, I think most likely going to get a trailer.
Yeah.
Educated Wish.
Oh, yeah. My educated wish is that Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear would be there to perform live a song. If not, I totally think Ali Carvalho could also be there as well. And Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Dwayne The Rock Johnson loves this stuff. He's going to be
I think
there.
they'll all be there just because it is kind of there's been a social media push for Barlow and Bear. So I'm sure they'll be there. They're the songwriters. There's some hype around them. Maybe the cast will come out and perform some type of the song. So most likely a trailer, and they'll probably perform a song. I would say that song is going to be in a most likely category for me.
I also think, so along with this potential performance that I think is very likely to happen, the year we went, was right before Coco was released.
Yeah.
And they did like a really special presentation of one of their songs with a ton of dancers that came all up through the aisles.
Yeah.
And these really pretty,
the marigold
flowers
petals,
like fell from the sky.
They were,
It was so pretty. I think they could do some big, like kind of culturally significant, big fat dance number.
That could be their finale because a lot of their shows, they really treat them like a performance. So I know in their past years, they have songs and musical numbers and like a band comes out, all this. So that could be their finale. If they want to say, we really believe in Moana 2, we do a big finale number for the whole thing. Who knows? All right, Moana 2.
Okay, what's our rating system?
I say most likely to have a trailer, most likely also to perform a song. I don't know who's going to perform it, but I think they're going to perform a song.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Most likely. Agreed?
Agreed.
Cool. Next one on the list is the December release of Mufasa, the sequel to the Jon Favreau live action / animated Lion King movie. If you remember that one, the remake of the Lion King, which technically is an animated movie. I mean, it looks live action. It's funny. It's actually the highest grossing animated movie of all time. It's kind of a fuzzy stat because it's like live action, but it is completely animated. So I don't know. It's a fuzzy detail. But Barry Jenkins is doing this prequel / sequel of The Lion King. And honestly, we don't know much about it. We know it's his story about Simba's dad going from an orphan lion cub to becoming a king. And I'm sure there's gonna be some really cool coming of age story in there. We know it's narrated by Rafiki, Timon, and Pumbaa. So there's gonna be some like character and fun stuff there. So there'll be some comedy. What do we think about this movie? I think that there is live action remake fatigue, certainly, because some of those Disney live action remakes didn't quite hit as much as people want.
Well, this wouldn't technically be a remake.
True.
This is just in addition to.
Yeah.
This movie for me has flown so under the radar. Like, I haven't really been thinking about it. I haven't been. It surprises me every time I see a trailer.
You're like, oh yeah,
the theater
that's coming out.
Like, because there was a trailer before Inside Out 2. There was a trailer before Deadpool and Wolverine, and I was like, oh yeah. Every time I kind of forget about it. So I don't know if that. I'm just not in the areas they're marketing it the most, but that is so strange to me that this feels so under the radar for people who are the both of us who are so plugged into Disney media.
It'll be interesting to see closer to December how we feel about it, because I'm sure marketing's going to get crazy. But I think because there's such not a great view of these remake movies, there's an uphill climb to get people, just the general public, excited about it. I'm sure D23, we're gonna there's me laughing and cheering and all that good stuff about it. I'm excited for it because I love any expansion of Disney, but I do think that I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I am just really curious about it. There's music by Lin-Manuel Miranda in the movie. Mm-hmm. I know you're maybe kind of excited about that.
Also, who's being introduced in this film? Is it Blue Ivy Carter?
Ooh, I don't know. I think the thing I'm most excited about in relation to Mufasa is this was a project that Barry Jenkins, who directed Moonlight and won for Moonlight, really was like...
Remember that
flub
Oscar
at the Oscars?
snafu?
Yes, totally.
That was the famous La La Land mishap.
Right. So Barry Jenkins, coming off of Moonlight, had this kind of a passion project for a Mufasa prequel. And so the fact that he had a vision for it gives me something to be like, okay, there might be something there that we don't see, but maybe he does. So I'm curious about that for sure.
Okay, Blue Ivy Carter has been cast as Kiara, a character in this film, and apart from participating in Beyonce music videos and Jay-Z music videos, this is I think this is technically like her introduction to acting. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And she's going to play Simba's daughter, Kiara. Any fans of Lion King 2, Simba's Pride? Great little movie. One of the best of the sequels, I think.
What do you think would happen with this film?
Okay, so most likely to happen. I think we're getting a trailer.
Mm-hmm. Well,
another one.
Yeah.
We're getting another trailer, maybe with more information on the movie and like what the actual story is. And we know that this is a musical with songs by Lin-Manuel Miranda. I have no doubt
Beyonce.
he will. Yeah, that's true. But he will probably be there, maybe perform a song.
Beyonce's in Paris right now for the Olympics.
Let's see if they get her.
She can hop on a plane to LAX.
It's true.
With a dream in a cardigan.
Okay. All right. So Mufasa, most likely trailer, maybe a song. What's not going to happen is James Earl Jones is going to be there and put on a tap dancing number.
For sure, no.
Not going to happen. Okay. Next on the list.
Okay.
The live action Snow White movie.
Oh.
Okay. So this one's interesting. This has gone through kind of a development. What's the best? It's been through an interesting development. Okay. So Snow White.
Backlash.
So true.
Had to pivot.
Yep.
Do some reshoots.
Yep. So Snow White, of course, is the animated movie, the 1937 classic, the first animated feature-length movie for Disney. So it's a big deal to do the live-action version and to reinterpret that story visually to a modern audience. And so there's a lot here. I'm even curious how much people really care about it, though. The general public probably is like, we've seen a lot of these live action remakes, and they're probably wondering what's there for me in this one. I'm very excited for it. I love Snow White, of course. I might be in the minority. I kind of loved the designs of the dwarves. I might be in the total minority when they dropped that picture of Snow White and the dwarves, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I recognize an element from the 37 movie, but in a live action format. And I'm sure they're going to keep on redeveloping the look of those. But this has kind of been in development. It is, I think, slated for next year to be released. So what do we think? What do we think for Snow White? Do we think cast is going to come out? I mean, Gal Gadot is probably going to be there.
Rachel Zegler.
Is going to be there. Maybe I think it's Martin Kleba, if I remember his name correctly. The guy from Pirates.
Fun fact. Yeah. This is so random.
Okay.
I grew up in the same townhome complex as him.
That's right.
Yeah, he was my neighbor.
Over in Northridge?
Over in Northridge, little valley girl.
Okay.
Random.
In between the Pirates movies, you were just asking for a cup of sugar next door or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, so Snow White, it'll be interesting. There is an expansion of the songs as well. So
we'd get a teaser.
I think we got to get a teaser. We got to get, and there's going to be some kind of a real teaser, like a visual exploration of what this movie's going to be, but maybe not a lot else.
I think they have to answer the question of how they solved the problem with the dwarves controversy. Because we don't fully know how they, or do we? Am I behind? Do we fully know how they pivoted?
It went from they were dwarves to maybe a little bit magical creatures, and there was those photos of full tall 7 dwarves not looking like dwarves, and then there was an image that them looked more like the animated movie dwarves. So it'll be interesting to see what came of all that, and the controversy, some of the backlash around it with Rachel's. There was few things that really just have held this up, and so I know they want to do it right and not rush it. There's no point to really rush it at this point. Just do it right. Do it well. So Snow White. What do you think most likely to happen? A teaser trailer. There's some songs from the people who wrote La La Land. Some expansion of the songs. There could be something we hear. I think it might be just really nice to hear a new rendition. Maybe Rachel Zegler sings "Someday My Prince Will Come," and I hope that remains in the movie. I don't know how they've adjusted the story about Snow White's character, but it would be nice to hear. That's such a classic Disney song. It'd be nice to hear her sing that.
It is so classic. I am not holding my breath for that song.
Really?
I would love it, but she had such she was so vocal about she has a quote. She was saying I don't want we're making a movie where Snow White isn't just waiting for her prince to come save her.
Gotcha.
Remember she said something along those lines? So I truly would not be surprised if that song was cut.
From the
movie. It honestly is kind of sad just because it's so beautiful and has, just such a rich legacy in Disney lore. But
almost 90 years of it being in the pop culture,
Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong. I would love to see it, but I really don't know.
It will be this movie. I will say that it will be interesting to see how they adapt it. It will just with all of the stuff around it. Challenges. I just hope that there's something that's recognizable to the original movie where we say, okay, that was an interesting expansion on that world that Walt Disney started in 1937. That would be really cool. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Snow White. Check. So the one movie that's on the list that filmed this year that I think we're going to hear about is Tron Ares, the third of the Tron movies. So we had the original Tron in the 80s. I think it was 81, 82, something like that, with Jeff Bridges and the whole cast. And then, of course, you jump to Tron Legacy. Same cast. Jeff Bridges came back. They expanded the story. Amazing visual movie. And the soundtrack is amazing.
Daft Punk.
And so now we're jumping ahead to a movie that kind of has gone in and out of production, or at least we've been hearing about it and then not hearing about it. But Tron Ares is here. Ares is the Greek god of war. So I'm sure there's going to be some confrontation between the cyber world that we saw in Tron Legacy, and now it's creeping into the real world. And we will see. Jared Leto is in it. Jared Leto is the lead. So
is the cast from the second Tron not returning?
I am not 100% sure. I think Jeff Bridges
has to.
I think I did see on the Disney Instagram Jeff Bridges is in it. So which may mean Garrett Hedlund is also in it, which played his son Sam Flynn. So I don't know. I actually really like Tron Legacy. I think it's kind of a fun cult classic movie with the visuals of Flynn's Arcade going back into all of that. So I would love if they harken back, if they somehow connected all of that. It's a really fun world. The Flynn Lives campaign around Tron Legacy, I know you don't know about it, but it was so cool. I was like, I don't know why the movie didn't hit as hard. Maybe the movie itself wasn't as good, but there was a lot of stuff behind it that was so interesting in the way that they got people engaged with the movie. So
I most vividly remember, because I was not a Tron fan. You showed me the original.
Yeah.
And contextualize the second one better for me and like really help me actually enjoy it more. But my interaction with Tron really came from those dance parties at Disney California Adventure.
The Electronica.
Yes.
Electronica.
Yes. Which then was like the Mad Tea Party theme as well.
Kept on trying to figure out what to do with that backlot.
I loved it. Because that was happening when I was in high school, college, maybe high school.
Yeah.
All those like backlot dance parties.
Right.
And I freaking loved it.
So fun.
It was like right place, right time for that.
That was like your annual pass. Like, I'm going to go down to the...
cashing in on my annual pass.
I'm just going to go to... Yeah. No reservations
go
at the time. I'm just going to go drop in at Disneyland, have a dance party.
God.
And then you maybe grab a churro on my way home. No big deal.
No big deal.
Wow. Privilege that we used to have. Okay. So... Tron Ares, very excited about that. Most likely to happen, I think we got to see some footage. It started shooting way early in this year, so they could totally have a trailer. They could totally have a teaser trailer. I'm going to say most likely teaser trailer.
Ooh.
I'm going to say teaser trailer locked in.
Like total teaser, like just a vibe set.
I mean, Tron, it's a Tron, the visuals of that movie is the biggest part of it. And so I think Jared Leto makes an appearance live there. You have the director, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Joachim Running. He's the guy, I don't know. He's the guy that he directed Pirates 5 and Maleficent 2 that kept him around. So Tron Ares, most likely trailer. Jared Leto's going to be there as well.
Okay. I don't know anything about anything, but I feel like if they were going to do a drone show of sorts, it would beat at this. Because didn't they just do a drone show of Deadpool Wolverine at Comic-Con?
You're right. We didn't even talk about that. I know you probably watched it on social media. It was super dope.
It was so cool.
It was so cool. Galactus rose above the San Diego skyline.
Crazy. But I think if there was going to be any element of like lights, lasers, drones, whatever, it would be for this project.
Yeah, it could.
Do they have an outdoor space? I mean, obviously, like outside of the convention center, but
it
is
could.
there like a designated gathering space?
I don't know. It could be over the
like
Honda Center. It could do something like that with drones or something. There could be in the courtyard. It depends on what clearances they've gotten from Anaheim. Could be stuff like that. I'm sure there would be some little surprises because they did some surprises for Comic-Con this year. So that could be interesting. Let's keep on going down this list, okay? Now let's jump into some animated movies, all right? These are things that have been talked about. They've said Disney Animation has said we are definitely working on these, and we haven't heard anything really about it. So let's see. Zootopia 2. Zootopia 2, the first Zootopia film with Jason Bateman and Jennifer Goodwin. Made over $1 billion globally. So it makes sense. A sequel has to be in the works. That would just be awesome. So I think there could be an announcement of that. There has been something in development.
Shakira.
Yeah. Shakira comes back.
Shakira surely would have
I tried everything.
I tried everything to get out of my tax evasion.
Yikes. We're that kind of podcast. We bring up the dirt. I don't think Shakira would be there. No chance. And to be honest, it could just be like a return on what's the story, because I'm sure there's been maybe some little development. There could be some footage or something that shows what the direction is. Depends on if they've landed on a story idea that they've really started to move forward with.
I think maybe with some of these animated release announcements, I think we could get a lot of storyboard visuals, maybe more so than trailers. I know, obviously, after Wish, we didn't love, I think as a collective, the majority didn't love the art style of Wish.
Sure.
So I think they would want to, obviously Zootopia already has like their art style locked in, but I think they could potentially, I don't know, want to showcase classic Disney art style or show us the process to help us fall in love with the animators more. I don't know.
Next one on the list that Bob Iger recently talked about along a Pixar movie we'll talk about in a second. Frozen 3. Frozen 3 is definitely happening. Frozen universe isn't dead. It's barely...
The Frozen cinematic universe?
Yes. Frozen is kicking and alive. So Frozen 3. I don't know who's directing it. We don't know anything about it. It's early stages.
If anything, Kristen Bell is such a hype woman.
Sure.
And I feel like she just loves.
And Idina Menzel. I mean, they'll come back.
Yeah.
They'll come back and say,
well,
hey,
they'll
it's
definitely
happening.
come back. But I think if anyone was going to be there, my educated wish would be on Kristen Bell's attendance.
What about Mr. Gad? Big Disney
Oh,
fan.
Disney legend himself.
Disney legend Josh Gad.
Disney legend Josh Gad.
I think they're all Disney legends now. I think I remember
I'm sure they should be. No, very likely. Yeah. I just think if we're only going to get one, I think it'd be Kristen.
Yeah. I think so just Frozen 3 in general, I don't know what we'd get. It would be probably concept art and a story direction, if anything. But I think this is an educated wish that we'll see something Frozen 3. The only actually, am I going to change it?
Oh.
Bob Iger recently talked about Frozen 3, and I think he even teased that they're working on 4 as well.
Oh my gosh.
So
like
I think,
boom.
I actually think it's most likely we're going to see something about Frozen 3. I think it's most likely we will see something about Frozen 3.
If they're wanting to instill confidence in the audience.
Yeah. This is the way to go.
The average and not so average Disney fan.
Yeah.
I think your money is in Frozen and it's a surefire win. I think they should give us a little something about Frozen.
Cool. All right. Most likely. I'm going to say it's happening.
We got a lot of most likelies. We're
I know.
pretty confident. We're going to be heartbroken.
They've also said this is just the biggest one. So
I know.
They got to
They
send it
have hyped
home.
this.
But, and I'll get to just a few more on the Disney side real quick. But there's likely a lot of movies, not likely, there is a lot of movies we don't even know about.
I know.
So it's
They've got to surprise us.
Yeah, animated movies, live action movies that they're going to bring something to the table, images, concept art, something of stuff we don't even know exists. So keep that in mind, okay? So couple more that they've talked about over the pandemic years of things that they were developing that made Disney fans go, is Ronald D. Moore, who did Outlander.
And he just
officially
recently announced, well, he was for a time paired up with Hulu and Sarah J. Maas for A Court of Thorns and Roses.
But he dropped out.
Adaptation, yes.
Okay.
Because of creative differences.
Oh.
But he's no longer attached to that project.
I love the drama.
And TBD on Hulu.
Okay. So Ronald D. Moore, Outlander fame, was brought into the Disney fold saying, hey, can you develop a TV series for Disney Plus on the Imagineering concept of the SEA organization? To which all of the Disney fans just threw up. They threw up. They were so excited.
I love this idea.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Yes. So for those that don't know, and I won't go belabor this whole thing because I could talk about it, but the SEA organization is the Society, I just bumped the mic, is the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. And this is an Imagineering story concept that across all their theme parks across the globe, there are this running storyline of characters and worlds that connect to this Society of Explorers and Adventurers. So the Jungle Cruise is connected with the Tower of Terror in Tokyo Disney Sea that's on the American waterfront there. There's like characters that kind of cross-pollinate and are part of this larger organization. Anyways, so there's like conspiracy, there's fun adventure in there, and of course connecting some Disney worlds, which made like Disney fans go, what? Like Frontierland and Adventureland, whatever. So there was Ronald Moore that was teasing this idea that he was developing. We didn't hear anything since. That was, I think, 2 years ago, 2022.
Yeah, I haven't, honestly, this is the first
Or
time.
before. I think it was 2021.
This is the first time we've talked about it truly in
Yeah.
a while. Because
Yeah.
I remember when you told me, I was so hype about it.
Yeah. And for him, he makes great characters, period pieces, all this stuff. So it was, I think, a really cool match, but he may have stepped away. We've heard very, very little. So this is a total educated wish for me. One, because it's not a huge IP, and I think Bob Iger is really leaning into the heavy IPs right now just to get momentum back. So I don't know if the SCA series is a go. I'm gonna make educated wish because it is truly a wish for me. It's just a wish.
Yeah, I think I would probably lean not likely.
Yeah, which is just. It would be so good. It would be so fun.
I don't know. Who knows? They could surprise us. Surprise and delight.
Surprise and delight. But Ronald Moore is also a busy guy. So I don't know. We'll see. So there's that. The other film that Disney fans got excited about as well was a Figment movie. Okay, so Figment is the purple dragon from the original Epcot attraction, and still standing today. Figment's still around. Of Journey into Imagination was the original attraction, and that was with Figment, a little purple dragon, which was a figment of imagination, and he was partnered with the Dreamfinder, which was this character who drove a dirigible flying machine, and he was this whimsical character. So
Steampunk vibe.
yeah, and the Marvel comic is more steampunk vibe. So love Figment. A lot of Disney fans across surely the nation love this little purple dragon because they sell out of popcorn buckets. There's lines for the meet and greets. Figment is still popular, but is he IP popular? Is he a film popular? Well, 2 years ago, Seth Rogen was attached to write a script kind of like in the style of Detective Pikachu, if you can think about that. There was an animated character in a live action world, and there was interaction with all of that. But a Seth Rogen written comedy with Figment, the purple dragon, some kind of story about that. We haven't heard anything about it for 2 years. 2 years. So, what do we think?
I 100% think they would make mention of it at D23.
Yeah.
The gathering of all their Disney nerds.
Yeah. They didn't
If
announce
it's moving
it
forward.
I will say this: they announced it via a press release, not in front of people. And I only say that because the last few years have been kind of wonky for Disney, where they announce something and then like, where'd it go? And sometimes if they're doing it in front of fans, they know fans will remember that they said it. And they didn't do it in front of people.
Accountability.
So that's my one thing is that it could be something that they're still working on. It could be something that we're like, you know what, let's put a pause on it again to focus on the major IPs. So, which I get the momentum for that. It was just these projects could be a brand new branch of some great stories for Disney to leverage, which I think will still happen. But this year, 2024 D23, do you think Figment the movie will be talked about? Most likely, educated wish, not going to happen.
I do think they would bring it up. Maybe that's just the optimism in me. But I think this could be something that really got deep cut fans stoked.
Yeah.
Like, I think this could stoke the flame of
Totally.
fandom in a big way, which Disney sorely needs right now. So I think it's possible.
It
I think
would
it's highly
win
likely.
a lot of favor from core fans, especially if they think maybe that'll bleed out into the the public right now. Just like saying some good PR with their core fans.
Yeah,
I get that.
I think I said highly likely, but I think mid likely. Like it's likely.
You're more optimistic than me. I'm going to lean on that. I'm going to say just
I think
educated
it's because
wish.
you're protecting your heart.
Maybe that protecting my heart.
Because you have, being a Georgia boy and like just a short drive to Disney World.
That's right.
You have much more of an attachment to Figment. Figment was not even a figment of my imagination out here as a Disneyland girly, as an LA park person. So
we'll see. I'm just guarding my heart. So one big Disney live action movie that I believe is filming this year shortly the live action Moana. And there's been so much
yes.
hype around it. Moana 2 is coming out this year. And I know Moana the live action
weird.
movie.
The timing is so weird.
So weird. It's a lot of
But
a lot of
sure.
this story and these characters in a short period of time.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it, especially
Yeah.
like the fact that you have the
Original
voice
cast.
character of Maui, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, going to be playing it in live action, which they have not done before. That's just like a fun
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. I think it'll also, I think that a huge driving force behind them turning this into live action was cultural.
Sure.
I think they really want to show this beautiful, like, Oceania countries
Yeah.
on display.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, a gorgeous movie. It's going to be really fun. It's a warranted movie. I think with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, when you have his push, his producing,
His star power.
and he's as a producer too. So he was probably very passionate about it and getting it out there. So Moana live action.
Oh, yeah.
Incredibly likely. In fact,
10 out of 10, Dwayne The Rock Johnson will be present at
yes.
D23.
In fact, the live action Moana may be the closer of the movie slate. If
Start with Moana
anything,
2 and with Moana live
maybe,
action.
maybe because I could see if Dwayne The Rock Johnson performs "You're Welcome," even maybe in costume. Am I crazy? Is that weird? If he was like, if they had the thing ready, if we had his look ready for how he's going to be in the movie, and he performs it live, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
With dancers, with like the whole thing.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Like, and that's the send off. That would be so cool. Now, what's really important?
And you're welcome. Like, how
Exactly.
perfect for them to wrap up
the whole thing. Yeah.
and be like, look at all this content we're bringing you. You're welcome.
That would be fun. That would be a funny ending. So that could happen. That might be an educated wish. The most likely to happen is they're going to talk about live action Moana. They're going to show us something.
Yeah.
They're going to talk about the vision for it. It's just been a front running item because the movie is nostalgic already for Gen Zers and stuff. But it came out most recently too. So very exciting about that.
Yeah.
Okay, moving down our movie list. We just did Disney live action, Disney animation, all right?
Bye.
And now we're doing Pixar. All right, so Pixar just came out with Inside Out 2, was a big, big hit, right? Made over $1 billion, highest grossing animated movie of all time. Pixar needed this. This was something they desperately
I
needed
think
after
we all
last year.
needed it.
It's true.
This movie literally it put into words and pictures just the experience of anxiety so beautifully.
Yeah.
I think the collective world was healed a little bit from seeing, just feeling like you were seen and known in that experience.
Yeah. It was great. I loved it. So Pixar coming off that strong win. Bob Iger has leaned into what Pixar could be, and Pete Docter, the head of Pixar, what Pixar could be leaning into over the next few years. A big push will be in IP that they already had. Stuff that they know are big hits. So kind of sad maybe for the audience to know. It's like, we just know you'll come see a sequel. And so I know some of that is kind of, disheartening a little bit to hear. But also, there could be some really great sequels that come out, right? So one thing before we jump into sequels that I know was in development for a long, long time was a movie called Elio, okay? It's gone through some development issues, production issues, and so it's been delayed. I don't know. I think it's on the slate for next year, but I don't know if we're going to see anything about that. If they've dropped it, if they paused it, what's happening with it. The story, really briefly, was about this little boy whose parents, I think his mom worked for NASA or space exploration or something, and extraterrestrials, aliens, contact Earth, but instead of the mom being at the desk when they contact, it's this little boy. And so he gets beamed up to be an ambassador of Earth to the Intergalactic Senate or whatever it is. And so it's a cute sci-fi Pixar movie. Okay, so Elio, most likely, I don't know if we're going to see it. It just totally depends on where it is in the pipeline, if they've dropped it, if they've reverted their efforts to some other films. I'm going to say most likely though. I'm going to say that because we've seen a trailer for it. They may try to figure it out. I'm going to say a most likely.
Yeah.
Just because we've seen so much about it.
I think they have to, because what's like a less crass version of saying this, but like piss or get off the pot. Like they've got to do something with this, or just like announce that it's dead.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And we already saw a teaser.
Yeah.
Like they've got to do some retcon on this and let us know, or like just be like, it's done.
That's a good point. So I'll say most likely we'll hear something about it.
Yeah,
but
agree.
We may not at all. It may just be something that might be something they just totally concede and say we're not even going to talk about it anymore. Like it didn't exist. So we'll see. Okay, so Elio, one thing that I am very sure this is the most likely for me that they're going to talk about is Toy Story 5.
Oh yeah.
Because we've heard that they're definitely moving forward with it. I think they're in development. They've started pre-production. I think it's happening. So Toy Story 5, because people are just curious as how you continue this franchise, we could get a premise, we could get a plot detail on what it'll be. I think we're still following Woody and Buzz, so maybe like a split movie where we're jumping back and forth and somehow they're connected. I don't know. So I'm excited. I think that they could. For me, I know people are kind of in the fatigue of like, do we need a Toy Story 5? We've had some pretty solid movies. I think you could take the Toy Story stories into a place where Velveteen Rabbit goes. If you remember that story, Velveteen Rabbit. Eventually,
doesn't he die?
Yeah, I know, but I'm telling you, Pixar, they already kind of played with that idea. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you tell this story without the toys at some point getting loved so much that they have been used and overused, maybe. But it's a symbol of how much they were loved. I don't know. You know the Velveteen Rabbit story. That could be thematically where they go with this, especially if maybe Andy finds Woody again. You hate this idea.
Yeah, I do hate this idea. It's so sad.
Well, the idea of Woody saying my best effort is to love Andy, serve the owner that I have. The push on that story without repeating the same beats is pushing the stakes. So I
love raising the stakes.
Yeah.
I love high stakes.
I don't know. So I don't know. We will see. The guys the team at Pixar, they figure stuff out. So I don't know. We'll see. Toy Story 5, most likely, definitely going to hear something about it.
Something. There's gonna be
concept art, a premise, something. Okay? Toy Story 5. Now, Pete Docter has teased continuations of other stories like The Incredibles, Incredibles 3.
Oh my gosh, what?
Incredibles 3.
I genuinely am hearing this for the first time right now.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, Pete Docter, he teased this. There's no one attached to direct. And he brought, well, I'll just say it right here. He teased Incredibles 3 and Finding Nemo 3. Okay?
What?
So continuation.
Where was this?
Just in a like he was just sharing something in relation to Inside Out 2. So, but he just threw them out there as potential stories that they could explore more.
I love it. I'm all in. Sign me up.
Okay, so you have the original directors of Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. Andrew Stanton is still around at Pixar. He could be back for 3 if he thinks there's a story there. I think Pete Docter, from what he said, it sounds like he said it's a big ocean, could be a lot more story to tell. Okay, Incredibles 3, maybe because it is a superhero family and we're accustomed to seeing superhero franchises and continued stories with that. I could totally see Incredibles 3 being a evolution of those characters.
Yes.
Because we're used to seeing superheroes evolve. So it would be cool to see Pixar do their.
Would they now be in the 70s?
Ooh, yeah. How does the world evolve? How did the superheroes evolve? How does I know the politics around superheroes being in the public eye. That's been an ongoing theme with The Incredibles. So
I was just thinking about the hair.
Oh, sure.
And the outfits.
So Incredibles 3, Finding Nemo 3. Most likely to happen? Like we're going to see it happen? Are we going to see it?
I mean, I don't even feel like I have enough information to weigh in on this because breaking news. I heard it here from you first.
I think, okay, so here's what I think is going to happen. And I don't even know if the most likely, I don't know where it fits in these categories. I think if anything, it's just going to be mentioned. Because because it's so fresh. Like he just threw out the idea that potentially these could be stories in the future, but the near future. So I don't know. I think it might be soon to say, hey, we have a director attached to it. We have a whole story. We know exactly what we're gonna do. I think it's too soon for that.
I think they could really surprise and delight us though. I mean, I think after the success of Inside Out 2, they would definitely prioritize their more successful Pixar franchises and continuing to do sequels. So I think that could be a priority for them. So I could see this being like bumped up in the slate in Inside Out 3. Or sorry. Well, yes, but Incredibles 3 and Finding Nemo / Dory 3.
Okay. So I'm going to say for me, not going to happen.
Okay.
I'm going to say if there is an educated wish, it's just going to say we are excited about the potential of these stories.
I would say likely.
Oh.
Man, I'm very optimistic. I don't think I've said not going to happen
What I love
anything.
is you just said it's likely and you literally just heard it from me. You literally just heard it.
But my logic.
A minute ago, you didn't know these things existed.
The logic train that I just took you on about them prioritizing sequels makes sense to me.
Well,
why it would be likely that they would bring it up.
Okay. La-di-da. Okay. Cool. One last thing for the Pixar slate. I mean, those are the ones that there was a series called Win or Lose that I've heard they're going to show the first couple episodes at D23. This is a series that Pixar has been developing for a long time. I don't really know much about it. It's kind of this abstract idea about winning and losing and what happens.
Is it attached to an IP?
No, it's just its own thing. But I think it's about like winning or losing, and we're seeing like two perspectives on a story take place. There's something about that.
That reminds me, there would also be, I think they would probably mention something about the Inside Out series.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The Dream Productions. Dream Productions.
Sorry, yes.
Dream Productions. There is going to be an Inside Out series, which is going to be different Dream Productions, I guess, as episodes. Yeah. So we'll see.
I think we'll get some news on that.
We'll see what a dream looks like in Riley's mind, which would be just really fun. So that and Win or Lose. I don't know if there's any other series. I don't think they're developing anything else, but certainly the films, Toy Story 5, all those. One last thing that I have heard through the pipeline is there is one exciting, apparently very exciting Pixar title that we do not know about, that has been in development for a while, that they're going to, I believe, announce at D23. I
do think it'd be crazy to have a whole Pixar presentation and not mention a single new endeavor. Yeah. Like if everything was sequels or spin-off series. Yeah.
But you have to keep in mind, they had a whole slate of originals since, what was the last sequel we got? It was Finding Dory, probably. Or... yeah, I think it's fine. But you had Luca, you had Soul, you had Turning Red. You had a series of these live action movies that didn't. I think they were fantastic movies. They didn't do well, and so you have a momentum to say, like, do we keep doing that? So I know one thing, and maybe we cut this part. I don't know. We can keep it in. From what I understand, from what Pete Docter said, is a lot of the movies they have been telling the last few years have been very specific, personal stories from some of their animators. The animators were telling some personal story and sharing it, whether it was the one of the co-writers from Soul, who shared a lot of his experience being an African-American, but also working in music, I believe is what his background was in. And that was in Soul. Luca, there was a lot of personal storytelling in that. Turning Red, a lot of personal storytelling. Elemental as well. You had the director, Pete Stone, having an immigration story in that. So great movies, but you had these personal stories that were on the table and not necessarily these sort of broad, general audiences, Cars, Toy Story, which is just
like themes that everyone can relate to. I do think there were totally moments in all of those movies you just listed off that there were totally moments where everyone could relate, but the broader theme was definitely more
Totally
kind of zeroed in.
And
which I love, though. I do love that.
Well, I can also see why it can be disheartening for the production and the animating team to hear from the top to say, hey, you've been telling some of these personal stories. We need some more evergreen stuff. And that is just for any art in general. That's the worst thing to hear, to say, hey, let's make it for more broad appeal.
Because the more personal it gets, just the more meaningful.
And that's what art should do. But yeah, I do get the sense. I mean, we remember the early 2000s where they're just knocking them out with Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc., Toy Story. And there were personal stories in that about parenting or whatever, but they may have just served a broader audience. I don't know. That could be an entirely its own topic of conversation of trying to break all that down and thoughts around it. But interesting to see how it's evolving and their new slate. But agreed, this untitled Pixar movie could be a really great, exciting, and surprising addition.
I think
that we
it's
don't
highly
expect.
likely that we get an announcement of this unknown title or multiple.
Yeah.
But most likely just one. Because again, like I just don't think they would do a whole presentation without a single original
something to make us curious about something totally new. Agreed. All right, moving on. Of course, I think there will be more titles that could be underneath the Fox banner, the 20th Century Fox, and of course, it's not Fox anymore; it's 20th Century Studios. There could be more titles that they're going to announce based on franchises that they've had in the past that they're saying, let's bring it back. But there are 3 that I know are going to be kind of focused on, I would imagine. Okay. So Avatar, big, huge. We know Avatar 3 will be coming out not this December, I believe next December though, or maybe I don't know. I need to look at the slate again. We will probably get an update on that slate at D23. But Avatar 3 is in production. We know Avatar 4. Okay, there you go. Avatar 4 and 5 have all been moving together. They know James Cameron has one cohesive story he's trying to tell. I know you love the Avatar world.
Oh my God, I love it.
And Pandora. And the first one I think you liked more than the second.
I did. I really did.
Yeah.
I just think, I don't know, something about the second one, there was just so much going on, maybe too much going on, or it just didn't hit as hard as the first one did for me. But I still loved, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the Sigourney Weaver
the character
performance was just weird for me. It was
Sigourney
so weird.
Weaver played the
like a
daughter.
14-year-old?
Yeah, it was the daughter of.
I love. Yeah. It's not an ageism thing. Like, it's so cool to me that the technology allows for that. But her performance, I just feel like she would have been better served elsewhere in the movie.
You just knew, you could tell it was Sigourney Weaver.
I could tell it was like a 50-year-old woman playing a 14-year-old. And that was, maybe they wanted it to be like, oh, she's an old soul. Yeah. But it was just, I don't know, it took me out of it a little bit.
I do remember when we saw it, and I didn't even know it was necessarily her playing it yet.
You didn't know? I could tell right away.
Well, I didn't know at first that it was her playing that part, but during the movie, I remember it took me out, and I remember it was like, there's something just like a little bit off about it. And then we found out later. But anyways, okay.
I don't
Avatar.
think we found out later. I think you definitely knew going into it.
I don't know. It's been a while. So Avatar 3, we know it's the expansion of Pandora. There's the fire people. I think James Cameron will be exploring more, the fire civilization, as we explore more of Pandora. So Avatar 3, I think, is very much going to happen. Maybe hear a little bit more about Avatar 4 and 5. One big thing that was very sad, John Landau, who was a producer. Oh my gosh,
you're right. He just passed away.
And died in like young. He was a young, like I think he was in his 60s or something. He was. I had the opportunity to meet him at a screening of Avatar 2 with James Cameron, and he was truly so nice. That's awesome. He was so kind, so considerate. Whenever he's been sharing about Avatar, you could just hear his passion behind these movies. So definitely a huge loss. Definitely going to be mentioned at D23 that we lost John Landau. Maybe they do an in memoriam like they do at the Oscars? They do. During the Legend ceremony, I believe they have a song and they highlight some of the people who passed away who have been involved. So
Wow.
Yeah, John Landau will probably be, but I'm sure James Cameron will want to share even. This is his producing partner. So the Avatar movies will probably not be the same. I'm sure he'll say that, but I'm sure they will want to dedicate the next one to his memory. So
do you think James Cameron, over under of James Cameron attending D23?
It's a really good question. I think so. I think I remember for Way of Water, he came to D23. So I'm going to say yes, because he's because John Lando's gone too. So it might be that he wants to be there to be the vision caster for this world.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say yes. So most likely we're going to see James Cameron, Avatar 3, and talking about the future of Avatar. Okay. Also from 20th century, we just got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this is...
Wait, this is the first D23 with Fox present, so that would be so...
Well,
right?
no, it's not the very first one. I think the last one also did, but first one with apes. The first one where now there's a reason to talk about the Planet of the Apes franchise. The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes just came out. They're in development for what?
Do the line.
It's a wonderful day.
It's a wonderful day.
Yes. So I think we will.
Oh, bless you. Copper is sneezing.
I think we will see a direction on where the apes world will go. I really enjoyed Kingdom of
I didn't even think about this aspect. That's so fun. I loved the second one.
Yeah.
I know you were just about to say that.
Yeah, this new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah, so there's a new franchise that's going to be in development. They can come out with some of the casts. Owen
Teague, that's right.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durand also played Blob in Wolverine Origin.
Oh yeah, X-Men Origins.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah. Okay, so Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes just came out. So an expansion on that world. I honestly have no idea what they could be planning. With the movie just coming out, though, I don't know if they're ready to talk about the next one. They might. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what the presence of the Planet of the Apes franchise even has. If there's another movie they're going to talk about, if they're talking about direction of it. But do you think, let's just talk about Planet of the Apes in general. Do you think we're going to see the presence of the franchise during the movie slate?
I don't know, because I don't think they're ready to show anything of the next one.
I don't know. So, there could be a premise. We could see cast come out. I don't know. So soon?
Yeah. I don't think so.
I'm going to
take the L on this one.
Okay. I'm going to say educated wish that we get Wes Ball, the director of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and if he's going to do more, him coming out and saying and here's the only thing. We're going to be getting a sizzle reel. We're going to get sizzle reel after sizzle reel after. We know it. Disney D23, they let in Comic-Con.
You get so hype over
So hype. But in that sizzle reel, what's going to be on it? Apes, because it just came out. So there's going to be other stuff, but we're going to see images of Planet of the Apes because it just came out this year. So maybe because it's front of mind, could we see Wes Ball just come on stage? Maybe just like Planet of the Apes logo behind, and he just says the title of the next one?
I don't think who would be doing this portion of the panel.
So this is all the Disney films. So this would be jumping around.
So Kevin Feige is like Marvel. The one who's leading a Marvel panel. Who would be leading a 20th Century Fox panel?
Great question. I don't know for certain. It would probably be the head of 20th Century Fox films or 20th Century Films. So,
So we'll see. So, I don't know. Okay. I like that. I like that for you.
So I'm going to say educated wish Wes Ball comes out and just gives us a direction of Planet of the Apes. I
think there will be presence in a sizzle reel and maybe a mention of look how successful and awesome this Planet of the Apes film was. But apart from that, I don't think there will be any forward-looking mention.
That's fair. So not going to happen. Educated wish.
This is the first one we've disagreed on.
Yeah, that's true. and I was more optimistic.
Spicy.
Okay, next one on here, and this won't take long. I know Alien Romulus is coming out, so the Alien
God,
franchise.
that's like a horror.
Yeah, so the Alien franchise is developing more because Alien Romulus is coming out. I think we're gonna see something.
Yeah, well, the trailer just dropped. It was the last trailer before the movie started.
So maybe it's a
Deadpool,
mention,
Wolverine.
but maybe they don't go full in at D23. This is just going to be the interesting thing as they have these big franchises that cover so much ground, how they divvy up the time, and if they recognize, do people get hyped over, does this audience get hyped over Alien Romulus, like the Alien franchise? And I think that there could be many people. You might get more of them at Comic-Con.
Many people.
So I don't know. I'm going to say Alien Romulus because the trailer came out, maybe something, but I don't know the focus of it. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I kind of feel the same way as I do with Planet of the Apes, but also it's so weird for me to like picture this in a D23 environment because it's just so new. I don't know if they would, again, I think they could like hype up Alien Romulus and like what successes it may or may not have, but I don't think they would project where that series is going until they have firmer numbers from the box office, which would be like.
So you made out a huge hype over it. I'm going to say not likely to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Now that you've said. Okay. Alien, sorry. We'll see. Okay.
Earth is closed today.
Earth is closed. Let's talk about Star Wars, okay? I know Star Wars isn't your favorite cup of tea. I
should not be saying this.
I love a good piping cup of tea of Star Wars.
Can I just clear the record as to why Star Wars is not my favorite? And you're all going to come for me, and I know it. I just personally think there are not stakes. There's no stakes. There's more stakes in a would-be Toy Story 5 or Toy Story 6 than in any of the newer Star Wars endeavors.
Shots are fired.
Everybody just comes back to life. And
well, except for the people who die.
But they never kill off anyone. They don't have the balls to kill off anyone important.
Darth Vader, Mace Windu, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia,
I just feel
Han
the way
Solo.
I feel, okay? My feelings don't have to be
Kylo
educated
Ren.
feelings.
Killed a lot of people. But yes, Force Ghosts do come back. I know you love a good Marvel movie. What about this multiverse where you have characters coming back all over the place? Where's the stakes in that, my friend?
Okay.
No,
touche.
I love Marvel and Star Wars.
Just for the record, I do not want Robert Downey Jr. back.
Okay.
He should stay dead. That was a beautiful ending.
Okay.
Let it be.
But Marvel, we can talk all day. Let's stick to Star Wars for a second. So you're mixed on it. I love Star Wars. I watched The Acolyte. I've watched most of the Star Wars stuff. I really enjoy it. I do agree the series, I think, leaves something to be desired a little bit, and I've watched all of it. But I'm excited about the expansion of the Star Wars world. I do think, let's tighten up let's make it all great. Let's make all Star Wars great. Maybe that means slowing down.
Make Star Wars great again.
But I would say make it. I don't know. Make it special. Make it special again. I think that's the thing everyone's saying is the movies maybe slow it down and make it this special event. So. All right, but let's talk about the announcements we think about Star Wars, okay? So, all right. So we've had a lot of these Star Wars series. We've had Mandalorian, we've had Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and it's kind of been going in a sequential order leading up to this movie Mandalorian and Grogu, which...
Baby
Yoda. So Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are spearheading this. So it's the culmination of all these stories up to a film. That's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think there will be presence about this at D23.
Yes. So I think Dave Filoni.
Some big presence.
Yeah. Pedro Pascal, perhaps, a Baby Yoda there.
Oh my God. Daddy.
So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see. I don't think they filmed anything yet. But we've talked about it for a while. people have talked about for a while. So I'm going to say most likely we're going to see Dave Filoni talk about this movie.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
They're going to talk about it. They're going to talk about Grand Admiral Thrawn, who's apparently the main villain of this. So yes, going to happen. We may even see the guy who plays it, Grand Admiral Thrawn, come on stage and do all that. I could see that happening. So I'm going to say most likely that's going to happen.
I also think they would have a Baby Yoda, like flying thingy.
Little contraption thing, the little floating one.
The little floating cradle or crib.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So there's that. One that's very interesting that's going to start shooting, I believe, soon is a continuation after The Rise of Skywalker. Okay. So there is a script called, just right now, it's called New Jedi Order. Some have described it as an episode 10, which didn't they say episode 9 was the last of the Skywalker saga? They did. And this is
I go back to my previous statement about stakes.
Okay. We don't know for sure. We don't know what it is, which makes the point even more of why there's going to be presence about this New Jedi Order movie at D23.
I am, just for the record, really afraid to make the Star Wars heads. What are the fans of Star Wars called?
Star Wars fans.
Star Wars fans, angry.
That's probably good.
I'm terrified.
That's good.
What do I know? What do I know?
So I will say this. This Daisy Ridley, Rey Skywalker led movie, I'm very excited about. I have always had my thoughts of the sequel trilogy. I know it has a mixed bag of reactions, but I do think that something did happen in the sequel trilogy, and there was some growth. And to see potentially a new path for the Jedi explored in this, as Rey creates a new Jedi Order with training these younglings, using the old books, but also using her teachings from Luke and Leia that she just learned. So we'll see. I have some thoughts on this. I have thoughts on this. This will definitely be covered at D23. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think Daisy Ridley's going to come on back out. People love Rey. I mean, the general public, they love those Star Wars movies. It's nostalgic now, maybe a little bit. So definitely most likely going to happen. Daisy Ridley's going to come out, New Jedi Order. Yes, probably.
Yes, I'll sign off on that.
I know you probably don't care as much. So
I do care. I love when people get hype about things because I want people to care about the things I get hype over.
There you go. Little return the favor type of thing. Okay.
So I'm hyped for all you Star Wars fans.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I actually am very excited about that. We'll see what's going to happen. And I hope, they just do a great job.
Do you think they'll announce some series?
I don't know. I don't know how many more series they want to do.
Yeah.
Right
I mean, I definitely think there's Star Wars series fatigue that they need to address, but I think they could still make an announcement of something.
Yeah. I think a High Republic series could be really cool. The sky's the limit. And I think there's untitled. In fact, I even wrote this down. One of the things, there's probably more untitled Star Wars projects that they're going to be talking about. So that's gonna be a really cool thing. Like this, conventions like this, or where like Rogue One gets announced. Like when Rogue One was great.
It's just been a while. My favorite.
It's been a while
because everyone dies. Stakes.
It is a great movie. I do agree with you there. So, Star Wars, there you go. To round out the D23 announcements with film and series is Marvel. Now, we got to just admit, we just took a short break to go watch the San Diego Comic-Con information that came from the Marvel panel at San Diego Comic-Con. So, some crazy announcements just flew out of there.
Crazy!
Which we will be processing, but...
you can see his real-time processing of the RDJ announcement as Dr. Doom.
Which is just wild. There's a lot of thoughts that I have. I won't go through all of it right now, but I wanted to cover the stuff that I think D23 will be covering based on what we just found out about Comic-Con. So they focused mainly on the main film projects, okay? So next year, Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four and the 2 Avengers movies. Okay, so and there were some adjustments, some title changes, pretty incredible stuff that they gave us in direction for that. So they didn't cover any of the Disney Plus series. So we've obviously seen the trailer for Agatha all along. So we know that they're going to cover parts of that kind of spooky series about this coven of witches, and I'm sure developing some more stuff about the Scarlet Witch, maybe? I don't know.
I really hope.
See. We will see. So do we think, obviously, I think it's most likely we're going to see the cast come out for Agatha all along.
Especially because Catherine Hahn is so fun.
So fun. Do we get more footage? Do we get already enough footage? Like, it's going to start coming out in September.
I don't think we need any more footage. I think we just could use some like hype and presence and reminder.
Yeah.
I think it's possible if Elizabeth Olsen is going to be in this. I think it's possible that they announce it there, like reveal it there.
Okay. That's true. She could come out as like a surprise guest after like at the end of the cast and they come out. All right. Likelihood of that happening. Most likely educated wish.
I don't know. I think it's likely.
Okay.
I do think it's likely.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Okay, so moving on to the next title. One thing that they talked about, obviously, at Comic-Con was Thunderbolts. We got to see more footage. They talked more about it. But there's an asterisk. It's Thunderbolts with an asterisk at the end. Do we think we're going to find out? Because, they're like kind of like, they're kind of just like threading us, or they're stringing us along a little bit. With this. And it could be that we find out what the asterisk is after the movie comes out. It could be. But in the past, they have released a title change before.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Are the Thunderbolts, I know the idea is that they're from the team Thunderbolt Ross. It's this Suicide Squad kind of cast of characters that we've seen. But could they be the Dark Avengers? Could that be the actual title? We do know in Captain America 4, Thaddeus Ross, played by Harrison Ford, wants to rebuild, or no, he wanted to establish Captain America for the U.S. Military. But I think he also wants to build the Avengers. I know Valentina, Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character, wants to rebuild an Avengers team. Mm-hmm. So it could be Thunderbolts is just Dark Avengers. It could be that. So we will find out. But do we think at D23, will we find out what the asterisk means at D23?
I think the asterisk is just potential for title change. So I think they were trying to hide us from something that would be a cooler, more weighty thing like the Dark Avengers.
But do they announce that at D23? They did a title change for Captain America. They knew it was going to be Civil War all along, and it was Captain America Serpent Society, and they changed it. It was a special reveal.
I do think they could. But why wouldn't they have done that at Comic-Con?
That's a good question. Why wouldn't they?
So
it's either the movie or I don't know. I think Comic-Con would have been the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so likelihood it's going to happen. We're going to find out what the asterisk means at D23. Maybe they waited for the last announcement circuit to do it. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say if they have an asterisk there, it's an Easter egg for some kind of reveal. This is the last big opportunity.
Yeah.
In front of fans, in front of this big press and everything, to do a big reveal. And I think this would be the time.
Yeah.
The last time.
Yeah. But then why did they choose to drop the Captain America 4 trailer 2 weeks before Comic-Con?
I don't know.
You were thinking it was because maybe they didn't have enough time,
or if they had other announcements.
So many projects to announce.
Yeah. I don't know. They have their reasons.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
I don't know. All right, so you're going to say not likely. I'm going to say likely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Iron Heart. So this is a series that already started filming. It's with Anthony Ramos. It's with Iron Heart. Sacha Baron Cohen is in it. They've already filmed it. So are we going to get an announcement Are we going to get I think we're going to see casts come out for that. I think I think we're going to see it. So most likely Ironheart, we're going to get a full reveal on all of that stuff.
Yeah. If they've already started filming, yes.
Yeah.
10 out
We
of
got to
10.
get an update. We got to find out. Sacha Baron Cohen is in it. It's rumored that he's playing Mephisto, this demon-like character. So I think it's just a full send. You have to like let us know all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right. So rapid fire, a few series, because Marvel has a lot of series that they have been in development, have already developed, have already filmed some of it. And there's a lot, which is kind of crazy to me that Comic-Con didn't even touch on anything of it.
But I do appreciate that they have heard our cries of Marvel fatigue and have slowed down a bit.
Sure.
Because yes, it's exciting that they have a lot coming up, but I'm glad that they're kind of pacing it better.
Yeah, slowing it down. Yeah, I agree. Some of these series, Armor Wars, it was talking about the idea that Tony Stark had with if you had armor around the world, Rhodey. James Rhodes is going to be a big part of that storyline. I don't know where it is in development. I don't know if it's still in the plans, still in the cards. I don't know. Vision Quest was another show that was following after WandaVision, following where White Vision went to and how all that happened.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I loved that storyline.
So at the end of the Marvels, we had Kamala Khan. She was visiting, I think, Yelena Belova, and she was talking about starting a Young Avengers and started teeing that up. So I know that just happened. There's a lot of things going on with Marvel. We don't need an update on that, but what is going to happen with that? Is it is a Young Avengers series? Do we think Young Avengers series?
They've definitely been built. The building blocks are there.
Yeah.
So I think a roadmap could be presented for that at least. Yeah, I don't think we'd get any type of like footage because I think that would have happened at Comic-Con, but maybe some more info about how they're going to continue building that in a vague way.
Okay, so I don't know if this is like a concrete announcement I believe is going to happen. Okay, this is a educated wish. This is totally an educated wish. I want them to have a Young Avengers series for Disney Plus. We would all watch that.
Yeah.
A Young Avengers series on Disney Plus, and you have this cast come up on stage at D23. They've already like established Wiccan and what's her other kid? Scarlet Witch's other kid. There's a bunch. There's Hulk's kid.
Maybe they pull in the cast from Sky High.
We could just it's Disney owned. We just make it a big conglomeration. So I could totally see a Young Avengers series happening, which would be cool because that would also give a reason for the main Avengers. Like imagine the Young Avengers are like, we gotta fight evil, and then they get themselves in trouble, and then the adults have to be like, well, these Young Avengers,
or vice versa.
Either way, that's so true. But I do like the idea that these Young Avengers are like, if these adults aren't going to do anything, we're going to do something,
which makes so Gen Z.
Yes, and it would make the adults be like, they're doing something, we should join them.
We should do better.
So that'd be kind of cool. All right, a couple things left. Wonder Man series. Wonder Man. What is Wonder Man? What is Wonder Man? I would say Wonder Man probably falls in the category of Guardians of the Galaxy, of something that not a lot of people know about, but could be very cool.
Okay.
The story is about this stuntman in Hollywood who inherits superpowers and becomes the Wonder Man.
This could help. Okay, you know why I think? Here's why I think this could be pushed through, because we just saw The Fall Guy. I loved that movie. It was so fun. There were a lot of legacy stunt actors in that. It was directed by, the director was a former stuntman.
Oh, yeah.
This also pushed through, a really big kind of movement to add stunt arts to, the Oscars to be a category. Right. We just saw casting design get added. The Fall Guy was a legitimate push to get this added. It was also the first time someone was credited as a stunt designer instead of a stunt coordinator. And this was advice from the Academy to the production team. They worked with all the appropriate guilds to get this credit, because stunt coordinator implies more like technical. You're kind of, making sure everyone's, got their safety checks and all that. that's kind of the implication of stunt coordinator,
Like
but
operations or something.
but they're the ones creating the stunts. And so switching the title to now stunt designer really could aid in the push to get this noticed as a element of design in the same way costume design is for a film. So I think with that understanding and knowledge of what's happening in the stunt world, I think this could be another piece of an organized effort puzzle to kind of move that needle forward.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
But that's my take on.
Interesting. I think it could be just an interesting character because it's in an industry. He's having to be indestructible in his job.
And they could also show us more like kind of like inside baseball, like movies about making movies.
Sure.
I love movies about making movies,
Sure,
right? Like
yeah.
The Fall Guy was that. I love it. They could show some more.
And what if the superhero world folded in on the industry, the Hollywood, filmmaking industry, which would be really cool. So they've already filmed it. So it's already wrapped production. Yep.
What?
Yep. Already wrapped production. So you said potentially it's already done. So they've already filmed it. It's already done.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there's things that are happening So it's already done. So we're probably going to get, I think, cast coming up on stage, going to totally promote this series. And I think it could have an identity of its own. They've talked about it being a Marvel Spotlight in that category where Echo was last year. Oh my God,
the making of that would be so fun.
Totally. Oh, yeah. So we got that series going. Another series, I'm telling you, there's so many. And so that's where it's like, I don't know. We can go through each one of these and be like, most likely, there's just so much that I don't know what they're going to do. But because it's filmed, I think they're going to do Wonder Man. Eyes of Wakanda is another series, which is exploring the culture and history of Wakanda. And I believe it's also live action. No update on that, but I would love to see that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I haven't heard of this.
Yeah. Especially since the passing of Chadwick Boseman, and how do you explore more of Wakanda? I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So there's that series that we could see more from. One I know that we will definitely see more from, because I know that there's already been production, is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is an animated series, kind of more in the comic book style, like more vintage comic book style, I should say.
Yeah.
But Peter Parker in high school, which I think will be really fun. I think it's going to have a lot of character.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So
you nerds freaking love Spider-Man, taken any shape or form.
It's true. So we have Spider-Man, which I'm really excited about that. X-Men 97, another animated show, just had a very successful first season. It's likely announced season 2.
I bet. Especially after Deadpool Wolverine.
Totally. There's an X-Men
Yes.
push right now. It's huge. And What If? They just had season 2. It could be season 3, which, I mean, as far as exploring the multiverse, What If is really where they can just go in any direction.
Yeah.
So that anthology show could also get a season 3. Also, one I just threw in here because I do think it's going to be a piece moving forward is Shang-Chi 2.
Oh, yeah. Oh my
We got the
gosh.
first Shang-Chi. It was an introduction of a great character full of all this rich history and culture. And I think, the 10 Rings and Shang-Chi is going to be playing a role in the future coming up. But I don't know. I just don't know. They've talked about it. But possibly an update on Shang-Chi
I think they
too.
should definitely remind us of him because he's so great. I freaking love seeing him.
Yeah.
And like, it's been a little quiet on that front
little
for
quiet.
a while. So
It's been quiet on a lot of Marvel stuff. They've just really been laying
appreciate.
groundwork,
Hey.
which I really do too. And the last thing that I want to talk about in light of Deadpool and Wolverine is, do we see more X-Men titles?
Well, I know none of that was announced at Comic-Con, and I think they would have on the heels of like such a hot, like that crowd was heated up after like that Deadpool Wolverine presence. I don't know. I think
that would be, I agree. That would have been like the moment.
I don't think they would announce any type of film.
Yeah.
X-Men film at D23 if they didn't at Comic-Con, but maybe another series.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, X-Men 97 is already
yeah.
kind of scratching that itch, but could you listen? I mean, there's people that have been talking for a long time about an X-Men versus Avengers versus X-Men, which there is a comic book precedent for that, and that would be an insane movie. I think we kind of got that, the integration of the Fox library. We kind of got that in Wolverine and Deadpool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that could have easily been Avengers 5 and then do Avengers 6, 7 or whatever the number of Avengers movies they want to do. But you know what I mean?
The limit does not exist.
Like that could have been the first Avengers movie where there's a team up against the X-Men. They all get integrated in together, and then we get now Avengers Doomsday. Whoosh. Whew. We got to have a whole video, which we are going to make a whole video processing the Marvel stuff because it's crazy.
Yeah.
But okay. Well, we covered a ton of announcements of the movie and series titles from Disney Animation, live action Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, 20th Century Studios, and Marvel. So D23 is going to be happening so much. We are so excited about that weekend. We can't wait to explore all the announcements and give you those announcements along the way and processing all that together. So we're going to make a part 2 for these D23 predictions covering all of the parks and resorts and experiences stuff because that's its own panel on the Saturday following the Friday film stuff. So we're going to be back. We're going to talk about all of our predictions and the likelihood that they may get announced for the parks and resorts.